Welcome everyone to Ready Steady Charge. My name is Solomon and today we're doing a road trip between Edmonton and Jasper. So we're going to check out the charging stations that are newly built, DC fast chargers in Edson and in Jasper. Well, it is 9 a.m. and the sun just came up. We are currently in Spruce Grove. So this is PV Mart. And I just came from Edmonton. I was hoping to, maybe plug in a little bit here at the Sun Country Level 2 charger while I'm filming. But hey, we got a fellow Kona EV here. So I guess I'll just do some filming and get on my way. So we've arrived with 94% battery. We started in Edmonton with around 99% battery. Today, the whole journey will be around 700 kilometers. So from Edmonton all the way to Jasper is about 360 kilometers. And with DC fast chargers in between, this trip will be fairly simple. So let's go in the car and take a look at the numbers. So like I said, we're starting with 94% battery, starting in Spruce Grove. So in terms of the battery temperature, we're looking at 15 degrees Celsius. Now this is pretty good. My vehicle was parked overnight in the underground parkade, so the battery is actually not that cold, and we shouldn't be having any cold gating temperature, especially because we're DC fast charging today. Ambient temperature right now is -2. -2 here in Alberta is actually not that cold. So, the weather is good. For today, I predict the consumption is going to be around 5 kilometers per kilowatt hour, or maybe a little bit less. Now, if we could get better consumption, I got no complaints. But I'm planning on, calculating on my range and stuff, using 5 kilometers per kilowatt hour for now. And once we start driving and go for a bit, I'll know exactly what our predicted consumption should be. I got winter tires on. I don't think we'll encounter any snow today, but it is winter officially. This is beginning of November, so snow can come down from the sky any moment. So good to have winter tires. All right, enough talking. Let's go to Edson. Hey, welcome back. So, a little bit of an update for how it's going throughout this trip. I've been driving for around 55 kilometers, and that took about 35 minutes. I am driving at around the speed limit, which is 110 kilometers per hour. So far, we have another about 120 kilometers to go until we get to Edson, and our battery state of charge is at 78%. So, plenty of battery, no problem there. Now, in terms of ambient temperature, we're at 1 degree Celsius. So, as the day goes on, it will get a little bit warmer because we started in the morning and it's, typically colder overnight and in the morning. So I think as the day warms up, then our consumption will be better. So what's our consumption now? It's actually exactly at 5.0 kilometers per kilowatt hour, which is what I thought it would be. Now, how did I come up with 5.0 kilometers per kilowatt hour as the predicted consumption? Really, it's just experience. So I know what speed I'm going to be driving at. I know, generally speaking, what the terrain is like, and I know, generally speaking, what the ambient temperature is. So with all these factors considered, in my experience, 5.0 kilometers per kilowatt hour is the consumption under these conditions. So I'm happy to see it's pretty close to the real life consumption, which means my predictions are more or less correct. And since we've been driving for now about 60 kilometers, the consumption is not likely to sway too far either way, so I think we're good. And plus, we got plenty of battery, so that's not an issue. I do want to show you something about how I, drive on long trips and how I plan while I'm driving. So now that I've been driving for 60 kilometers, I know what my consumption is more or less for the rest of the trip. And I'm going to take that consumption number and see how much battery I'm going to use for the rest of the distance, so the rest of the way to Edson. And making calculations while you're driving, I wouldn't recommend you take your phone and use a calculator app, because that's distracted driving. What I use is I use Google. So whenever I drive and navigate, I tend to use Android Auto. So basically you plug your phone into the vehicle and then you have Google Maps on there, you have all the Android Auto apps, and of course you have access to Google Assistant. So I am going to ask Google Assistant to calculate for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the distance I have left in kilometers and divide that by the consumption number measured in kilometers per kilowatt hour. So consumption sometimes are measured in a different unit. A lot of EVs show you consumption numbers in terms of kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And for all my calculations I'm going to show you today, I am using consumption number measured in kilometers per kilowatt hour. Just to me, that's a more intuitive number. For some people, kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers is more intuitive, but this is what we're going to use. So how we're going to do this is we're going to divide the remaining distance we need to go. So at this point it's 112 kilometers. And we're going to divide that by the consumption number. We're going to use 5.0. So 112 kilometers divided by 5 kilometers per kilowatt hour. So let's let Google do the calculation for us. What is 112 divided by 5?
The answer is 22.4.
Okay, so 22.4. So that's 22.4 kilowatt hours of energy. So that's how much energy we're going to use at the current consumption going the distance that we have left. 22.4. Now let's convert that into percentage. The Hyundai Kona EV has a 64 kilowatt hour usable battery capacity. So let's just divide 22.4 by 64 and then we'll get a percentage. What is 22.4 divided by 64?
The answer is 0.35.
So 0.35, that means 35% battery. Right now I have 76% battery, so if we use 35, that's going to give us 41. So we're going to probably arrive with around 41% battery, which is plenty. So it's also good that we won't arrive with too high of a state of charge, because really high state of charge when you plug in is going to be slow charging. So at 40% we're going to get full speed on a 50 kilowatt DC fast charger. So I hope you learned a little bit about how I do these calculations. So we'll see you in Edson. Welcome everyone to Edson. So we have arrived with about 41% in battery, so that's what we thought. The consumption is 5.1 kilometers per kilowatt hour, just slightly better than what we predicted. So as you can see, I am plugged in and charging. And this is a special setup. I'll show you in a moment when I'm further away and just gonna take a look all the way around here. So I plugged in. When we arrived, the battery temperature is at 14 degrees Celsius. And when we're charging, of course, the battery heater is working hard to warm it up. So right now we're getting 48 kilowatts. That's good. This is a 50 kilowatt charger, so that's about as high as we're gonna get. All right, let's take a look at the current battery temperature. So right now our battery is at 21 degrees Celsius, and the heater had turned on, so the coolant temperature is quite warm, but it was a lot warmer before. The battery heating in the Kona wants to bring the temperature up above 15 degrees Celsius, so it could get maximum on this 50 kilowatt charger. Well, look at this. This is a very special setup. So what we have is joining forces, the Teslas and of course the non-Teslas. Right here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 Tesla Superchargers, and we got 2 Flow chargers. These are 50 kilowatts. And you may feel like, oh, this is kind of unfair, right? Tesla gets 6 and everyone else gets 2. But I think this is actually about the right proportion. Most EVs I see in Alberta are actually Teslas, and I would say this proportion is correct. So most people who are going to come and charge are going to be Teslas, and they would use their proprietary charging stations, while everyone else, well, going to use these CCS and CHAdeMO 50 kilowatt flows. Now, where there is a big difference, other than the number of charging stations, is the, charging speed. So Tesla Superchargers can charge a lot faster than these Flow charging stations. Now, it depends on which vehicle you have. So older Teslas go up to about 80 to 90 kilowatts. The newest ones, for example, the Tesla Model Y, that one will, the fastest charging one goes up to 250 kilowatts. So that's a lot faster. My Kona, on the other hand, the Kona Electric can take up to 75 kilowatts. And this one's a 50 kilowatt charger. So technically speaking, my vehicle is not using its full charging speed on this charger. But either way, I am just thankful that we have charging stations here, because it used to be that there are only Tesla destination chargers here. Those are AC charging level 2. So if you have a Tesla on a destination charger, of course you can charge directly. If you got a non-Tesla like me, then you need an adapter to connect to a Tesla destination charger. And level 2 charging, for a couple of hours, that's not very fun. So, I'm thankful that we've got DC fast chargers here. Okay, so I just unplugged. We're back up to 80%. I have been here for about 45 minutes. So that's more than enough to get to Jasper. So let's go to Jasper. Let's talk about something else. So what are some of the other factors that affect consumption while you're driving an EV? In fact, any vehicle really, but it's more important for EVs. One of the more significant things I would say is elevation change. And if two places, your starting point and your end point, are quite different in elevation, that would mean you're going uphill one way and downhill the other way. And of course, your consumption would be higher or lower compared to driving on flat ground, depending on which way you're going. So let's talk about the elevation difference between Edmonton and Jasper. I believe Jasper is of higher elevation. So if you want to find that information, of course, you can ask Google again. So let's do that. What is the elevation of Edmonton?
The elevation of Edmonton is 645 meters.
Okay, 645. And let's ask about Jasper. What is the elevation of Jasper?
The elevation of Jasper is 1,060 meters.
So 1,060 versus 645. So there's a 400 meter difference, which means if you're going, between from Edmonton to Jasper, you're going uphill, and your consumption is going to be higher. If you're going the other way, then you're going downhill. So this is something to take into consideration when you're planning trips and, trying to figure out what your predicted consumption is going to be, because Well, if you start your trip, if you're going on a round trip, you start from a high place and you go to a low place, and you try to use that same number to predict your range going the other way back. You might, overestimate how much range you actually have. So always keep that in mind. If elevation's within the 100-meter difference, chances are your consumption is not going to be noticeable. Other factors may affect your consumption more than the elevation. And talking about that, we can also ask Google about, wind speed. And direction. Let's find out. What is the wind speed right now?
In Hinton right now, there's a 3 km/h wind blowing from the east.
Okay, blowing from the east. So that's actually tailwind, which is great. When wind speed becomes, I think, over 10 km/h, sometimes 20 km/h, and you get headwind, your consumption does go up significantly. So always beware of that. Now, wind direction and wind speed is not something that I would typically try to find out ahead of time. But if I'm driving in a place and my predicted consumption is way lower than what it actually is, I might check the wind speed just to see if that's what's holding me back, and if that's making consumption higher than what it should be. So, those are kind of things that you can find out on the fly, as long as you have internet connection and you can reach your voice assistant. So for Android phones, you got Google Assistant, and of course for those that use iOS, you got Siri. We are about 69 kilometers away, and we'll talk to you when we get there. Welcome to beautiful Jasper. Well, this is our intended destination. Actually, this is the turnaround point. We got a long way to go back to Edmonton, but hey, we're here. Look at that. Look at this glorious row of DC fast chargers. Well, I'm plugged in here, and I'm gonna be here for a bit. So let's update you on the numbers. We arrived here with 42% battery. We got quite a lot of battery left when we came here, so that's good. The consumption number is 5.8 kilometers per kilowatt hour, which is really good. Why is that? Why is it a lot higher now? Well, that's because the driving speed is actually slower. When you go into national parks, the speed limit is usually around 90 kilometers per hour. Some of it is actually 70 or 50. So it took longer to get here, but consumption is pretty good. So 5.8 kilometers per kilowatt hour, which is why we got so much battery left. The battery temperature is 17 degrees when we got here. Of course, it's cooled down since the last fast charging session. But as long as it's above 15 degrees, it will absolutely get full speed on one of these 50 kilowatt chargers. Are you ready for a tour? I am. So many. Okay, so let's start off with the non-Tesla section, because this is what I'm concerned with, since I can't use any of these superchargers. So 3 Flo 50 kilowatt DC fast chargers. That's pretty good. I imagine it's pretty rare there will be a situation with so many non-Teslas lined up here where you will have queues, but who knows, maybe in the summer holiday season this will be fully utilized. But hey, I'm the only one here, and let's look on the Tesla side. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we got 8 superchargers. And of course, it's only utilized 1/8. Well, this is quite a lot of chargers. You know, it used to be that Jasper is pretty tough to get to for EVs, because if you want to start from Edmonton, you only have level 2 chargers in between, and when you get here, you only have level 2 chargers. And you know, if you start with a full charge, you can come here okay, you know, you have to stay maybe 2 hours on a AC charger, and then you can get here. But the problem is, if you're coming here and you're moving on immediately, then it's difficult, because if you come here, no matter what EV you have, you'll be close to being drained, and charging on AC, that takes many hours. So this is why this specific site is so good. So let's take a look at the charging speed. Since we came with a fairly warm battery, charging speed should be pretty good. We're here for 7 minutes now, and it's 46 kilowatts. You see, I didn't use a lot of battery coming here, and I don't think I'm gonna use, you know, over 50% battery when I go back to Edson. However, I do think it's a good idea to keep yourself charged up, just in case. You never know. Sometimes there are detours, sometimes charging stations may not work. You know, honestly, I came here with 41% battery, and most people say, oh, that's too much, you know, leave yourself maybe 15% buffer and that's good enough. Well, why are you charging more? Because again, here in Alberta, we don't have charging stations absolutely everywhere. So you're relying on very few places, which means, you know, it's better to keep more charge. You know, if you got, for example, my Kona, if you have maybe 30% battery or 35% battery, you got yourself an extra 100 kilometers. And there's a lot you can do with an extra 100 kilometers when you actually need it. So let's take a look inside. Let's see what kind of temperature we're getting on the battery. Okay, so 19 degrees. So obviously when this DC fast charging, it warms up a little bit. You know, right now we're getting 46 kilowatts. That's as high as it goes for these 50 kilowatt DC fast chargers. So that's a pretty good speed. I think I'm gonna be here for maybe 30 minutes. So that'll get me to about 80%. And then after I finish charging here, I'm gonna go to the level 2 chargers. So where I used to charge, and you know, tell you a little bit about that place. Welcome to the past, or I mean the past charging of your EV. So this is the train station in Jasper, and we've just unplugged from the DC fast charger way over there. So this used to be the only charging site in Jasper. Now there is another place, it's somewhere over there. There is a library with one flow level 2 charger. There's only one plug there. So this place has 4 plugs. You got a J1772 here. This is for all non-Teslas. And of course the Tesla destination charger. This is for Tesla. But oh wait, what? Why is this one missing? Aha! As you can see, I'm testing out this specific adapter. This adapts Tesla's destination charger to J1772, and this one's working. So I'm actually making a video where I test out this specific adapter, and I'm going to go to 10 different destination chargers to see how many this adapter will work with. So make sure you subscribe for that. So I have unplugged from the DC fast charger at around 77% state of charge, and you know, I plugged in here at the using a Tesla destination charger to just test out the adapter. Next place I'm gonna go to will be back to Edson. I'm gonna go charge there. The distance is 165 kilometers. I'm gonna assume again the consumption is going to be 5.0 kilometers per kilowatt hour. Maybe you know, overestimation of how bad consumption is gonna be, but I want to stay conservative. So with that calculation, I'm gonna use around 50% battery. So now I am at 79. So we're basically way more than good to go. What this means is if I use 50% battery, I'm gonna have 30% buffer. That's a very healthy buffer. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll go for a bathroom break, and then we will head to Edson. We'll see you there. Welcome back to Edson. Yes, we're back at the same charger, and we are plugged in. So this time I'm the only one here, just me on my own. We're using the same charging station as before. So we're getting 46 kilowatts, that's pretty good. We basically arrived with 45% battery. The consumption is 6.5 kilometers per kilowatt hour, which is a lot better than going, the other way, going to Jasper. I put that down to the elevation difference, where Jasper is about 400 meters, higher than Edmonton. So going there is an uphill, and coming back is a downhill. So that's why consumption is a lot better. The battery is at 21 degrees Celsius, so plenty warm enough to get a full speed out of these 50 kilowatt chargers. So I'm gonna stay here for about 30 minutes in total. We're gonna get back up to 80%. Of course, we don't need to charge that much. In fact, we can probably go right now and make it all the way to Edmonton. But I don't want to risk it, so let's just leave a good, healthy margin. Give myself about 30% extra battery, just in case. Now, there are two additional DC fast chargers that non-Teslas can use in Edson. It is in Canadian Tire, so I'm gonna charge here. I'm gonna finish charging. I will go to Canadian Tire and just check them out, see if they're working and whether I can plug in and charge and all that. I'm not gonna stay there and charge, and the reason is these ones at the Tesla Supercharger, these are a lot cheaper. So these are 25 cents per minute. The ones at Canadian Tire are $20 an hour, which is equivalent to 33 cents per minute. So those are more expensive than these ones. So that's why I'm charging here. I'm just gonna go to Canadian Tire and check them out, see if they're working. So we made a little bit of a detour coming back to Canadian Tire. So this is Canadian Tire gas bar in Edson, and here are the Flo chargers. So let me go take a look and see if they're actually working. I've charged to 79% off of the Flo charger at the next to the Tesla Superchargers, and that's at the Boston Pizza here in Edson. So I'm just gonna go take a look, see if they're working, and if they are, I'm gonna try to plug in and just make sure they work. Let's go. Okay. Alright, so first let's take a look at this level 2 charger. Looks like this one is not working. But alright, it says $20 an hour. Looks like that's working. Let's check out this one. Same thing. So I'm gonna grab my Flo card and activate the charging session. Let's see what happens. Let's tap the card. Okay, that works. Let's open up the charge port here. So we're plugged in. Now remember, this one is $20 an hour, which is more expensive compared to the Boston Pizza Flo chargers. Those are 25 cents per minute, so 33 versus 25 cents, that's quite a loss. So I guess technically speaking, there are 4 non-Tesla DC fast chargers. So if the 2 at the Tesla Supercharger are occupied, the 2 cheaper one, if they are occupied, then you can come here. It's not that far away. Oh, okay. Looks like it's working. Can we get a speed? 19 kilowatts. Yeah, I guess this should be around 24 kilowatts. Oh, 49. Okay. So my next stop would be Spruce Grove. I'm gonna go back to where this whole trip started. I'm gonna see if that level 2 charger is free. I want to plug in just for a bit, just to know that I've gotten some free charging here on this trip. So yeah, let's go to Spruce Grove, and it's about 175 kilometers. So another an hour and 45 minutes. So let's go to Spruce Grove. Welcome back, everyone, to Spruce Grove. Yes, we're finally back at the starting point of our trip. So now I have this charger all to myself. Well, I'm just gonna plug in for a bit for the duration of this shoot, and I don't really need to charge because I have arrived here with 34% battery. The last leg of the journey, which is Edson to Spruce Grove, the consumption is 5.3 kilometers per kilowatt hour, which is a little bit better than the predicted 5 kilometers per kilowatt hour. So the entire trip's distance is 722 kilometers. The entire driving time is 8 hours and 45 minutes, but that does include the 30 minutes it took from Edmonton all the way here to Spruce Grove. The consumption for the whole trip is quite good. It's 5.7 kilometers per kilowatt hour. That is a little bit better than what I thought. I thought it would be 5. And that's all thanks to the Kona being a fairly efficient EV. So today's trip for me took a really long time, simply because I made quite a few detours to get footages for a different video. You know, if I was just traveling back and forth, it would have taken a little bit shorter time. But you know, it's quite a lot of distance. It's over 700 kilometers, and we're not even counting the part to Edmonton. So you know what? Those DC fast chargers really make a big difference. This makes traveling from Edmonton to Jasper back and forth possible in the same day. Whereas before, if you only had level 2 chargers, it would not be possible. Thank you for joining me today on our long trip from Spruce Grove to Jasper and all the way back. If you got any questions, make sure you put it in the comment section below and I will answer it to the best of my ability. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more electric vehicle content. My name is Solomon, and we'll see you on the next one.